Janusz, your immediate reactions as Manchester City win 4-1 against a newly promoted Ipswich Town.
Well, immediate reaction, I guess. Where will City find hunger and motivation to go at it again, I suppose, right? Because that's been a topic. Yes, we can talk about Ipswich Town, a promoted team, and the reaction after they've gone down was immediate, as you've mentioned. What they scored like 3 goals in 3 minutes, it felt like it, of course. And look, I mean, winning never gets old, even when you won 4 straight. If you have the right leader, and they have that in Pep Guardiola. Obviously, we saw the game, which of course could have been tricky away at Stamford Bridge. They controlled that game for the most part. Weren't at their best, didn't have to be today. They went behind in that game, but then of course, you have the executioner, right? You have Erling Haaland, a hat trick today, 23rd in his career. 4 goals on the season already. I mean, it's just amazing what Pep Guardiola is able to get out of those players. The wide game is back. Doku, excellent. Savio or Savinho, I still think of him as Savio, but whichever way you like, Louis, in this one. So, yes, it's easy. Because it was at home against newly promoted team. But I'll tell you what, again, sensational. And it's going to take something special to unseat Manchester City from winning the title. I know it's early. It's only second game, but they've got it. We know it.
They've got it. And not forgetting, of course, that they also did this without Rodri, who's still recuperating after suffering an injury from the Euros, which obviously speaks to the depth of Manchester City. Was there a shout, perhaps, Janusz, in the first half? Once Man City got the lead after that second goal from De Bruyne, the left back of Ipswich Town, Leif Davis, went into the box. It seemed that there was a little bit of a clash there. Did you think there was anything of it? Because it looked to the naked eye that at first Ipswich probably had a shout there.
Maybe slightly, but again, we're going to sit here after a game like this. I would have thought maybe there was a shout if it was given, if it was scored. City still finds a way in this one. So I mean, those are the conversation. Look, I mean, it's not easy for Ipswich Town, right? Not just promoted, but welcome to the Premier League, right? You get Liverpool and Manchester City as 2 of your games. I'm sure you're going to want to ask me a question about Ipswich Town, but I'm not going to answer it because what's there to answer? I mean, they're going to probably recover for next 3 days from this game because they never saw the ball. Let's wait till they play, I think, Fulham next game, because those are the games, those are the opponents that I think if they want to stay up, they're going to have to play. I felt for them because that's crazy welcome to the league, having to play Liverpool and Manchester City right now. But other than that, the first penalty, I still think it's enough. Was there enough impact? Was there enough contact? It was Davis, wasn't an Savio. But as I've said, I mean, just about, and it's funny that you've mentioned Kovacic, right? Because he did get injured, but he has played. I think, at least, his play, because it's been excellent, changes the narrative of the fact that they can't, when Rodri is not there, Manchester City can't win. Or something to that effect, right? So I think it's good for Manchester City and for Kovacic. They've been in a good form. I hope that there's nothing serious with that injury to Kovacic, by the way.
Yeah, should be something to look out for. Let's just focus a little bit on Erling Haaland for a moment. I know everything has been said about him. He's ridiculous. You mentioned the hat tricks in his career. That's his 10th overall for the club, his 7th in the Premier League, of course. He is so important. But also, I'm wondering, just because of the departure of Julian Alvarez, how much more reliant are they on Haaland this season, do you think? Or do you think, it's a Pep Guardiola team, they'll figure it out?
Yeah, I think it does make a difference because we've seen, him, injuries here and there. I mean, he's been injury prone for the most part, even when he was in Borussia Dortmund and here as well. Julian Alvarez obviously gave you that security blanket that isn't there. Look, I mean, they have so many options that I don't think it's going to be an issue. It may be an issue when we start talking about Manchester City and all the competition, because they'd be expected to win them all, right? The line's going to be, very close, even in the Premier League, because you see what Arsenal are doing. They're getting stronger. They're off to a good start, although they're playing your Villa pretty shortly. But it could be a question, but I was just thinking about that. I've mentioned the wide game. Look at this. I mean, Doku and now Savio, who just stepped in as if he's played in the Premier League for years, right? You have Grealish that can come in. You have issues centrally because you have Bernardo Silva. I mean, when I say issues, good issues. Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, who, by the way, welcome back to that De Bruyne and Erling Haaland connection. You still have Phil Foden that could play centrally or could go wide. You have Ilkay Gundogan now who can play central. So I suspect that this is Manchester City that's used to playing with kind of false nine over the years, right? So I think they'll find a solution. But I do think that Pep Guardiola would like to have another forward, true center forward somewhere in there. So we'll see if they do anything until the end of the season. They don't have to. There's still January if they have to adjust something. But I think it's a legitimate question. And it would be too easy for me to say, no problem, because they can do it. They can, but I feel more comfortable having another option there.
Yeah, and obviously as the Champions League returns and domestic cup competitions, not forgetting the Portuguese star Mateus Nunes, of course, but yeah, there's a lot of talent there, but it'll be interesting to see if any more action happens before the transfer window. You mentioned Savio, by the way. Woo, what a player, 20 years old. Remarkable performance today.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just, again, he makes you forget about Riyad Mahrez or whoever else you want to put.
Or maybe he reminds you of Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even that. I mean, I think now we talk about Mahrez. When Mahrez was there, I think we sung his praises because of what he was capable of doing in terms of keeping that width, taking players on. You have other players that are capable of doing that as well. Of course, his first touch is legendary. He'll never get enough credit for that, at least from me, because what he's able to do with the ball, the way it comes to him, every which way, it's just absolutely sensational. But as I've mentioned, the flexibility that they have, the versatility they have of all the players like Phil Foden or now even Rico Lewis, right? When Gundogan came in, he went wide, a little bit higher. He's been playing central. He can play as a right back. So that's the beauty of Pep Guardiola, the ability to push people. And that's overlooked a little bit, because when you're a player and managers very often change like for like. There's no such thing as like for like at Manchester City. That's the beauty of it. So if you played a bad game centrally, let's say, normally you think, well, somebody else comes in, I got to wait my time. Well, Pep Guardiola may just put you in a different position and give you that confidence in terms of coming in. So that's what's beautiful about Manchester City more than anything else, because there's always an option. And as a player, you feel that you may get chances just about everywhere on the pitch. Stones playing center midfield today.
Yep, 2 wins from 2 for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Let's move on here, because Tottenham kicked off at home in the season with a destruction of Everton, 4-0, a brace from Heung-min Son. Of course, Yves Bissouma with an absolute banger as well. Cuti Romero, the Argentinian centre-back, as well, got one from a corner. And it's more woes for Everton, by the way. 2 games, 0 goals scored, 7 goals conceded, 20th in the table. Yes, it's early in the season, but alarm bells. But Janusz, let's focus on Tottenham here. 4-0, a good victory. Was it more of a really good performance from Tottenham, or just Everton were just that bad?
It's always both, but that's exactly what Spurs needed, right? From the opening whistle, it was incredible. I mean, that goal that that eventually came from Yves Bissouma, wonderful finish of the crossbar. I mean, crossbars and posts were hurting today in all the games, it seems. But obviously wasn't playing for disciplinary reasons last time. He came in, repaid the fate that was given to him by Ange Postecoglou. We saw Ange Postecoglou actually. You saw that pose after I think Richarlison missed that chance for a winner in the first game. So I thought it was very, very impressive. In particular, of course, one player that does get credit, but I always feel not enough, and that's Heung-min Son with couple goals. I think if you look at Wilson Odobert, what a performance from him on that left-hand side. Wasn't it? 19-year-old that came in and kind of tricky, good one-on-one, good awareness already, causing Everton all kinds of problems. And let's be fair. I felt for Everton and Roman Dixon. He was, the youngster that had to play because, they had all kinds of possibilities, but injuries, right? Young got a red card. He could have played there. Patterson's out. A couple of other players that could have played in that position. So it wasn't an easy task for Dixon to face Odobert and Udogie on that side.
Yeah, obviously it didn't help Everton, but it was alarming a little bit, just Janusz, because obviously Sean Dyche's mentality is usually to be strong defensively. Jordan Pickford had a pretty bad game, specifically one of the goals where Heung-min Son just stole the ball from him, a back pass. How worried are you about Everton going forward? I'm not even just talking about, staying in the waters of mid-table, but really staying in this league.
Well, of course you worry. The negatives are for everyone to see. 7 goals conceded on the season, 2 losses. It's worrisome because the atmosphere around the club is absolutely horrible. It's been like this for 3 or 4 seasons. They've been begging to go down for the last 3 or 4 seasons. It doesn't help, of course, that they have the financial issues, points taken away from them. It may be the case this season as well. So a bad start complicates things for Everton as well. The only thing I will say about Everton that I do trust in Sean Dyche. If you're going to have a manager in a situation like this, of course he's the best. He's no nonsense. He doesn't worry about it. He knows his strengths. He keeps it simple because in situations like this, very often, right, clubs try to look for things. They change everything around. And, Sean Dyche, you know exactly what you're going to get from him, the style of play, the grit that he represents himself is one thing. And I think that seeps through often. It did last season as well through the team. So it's early. It's not great with the fact that they're moving to a new stadium. It's critical already. So he's going to have to fix that very, very quickly.
Yeah, and Everton have lost their first 2 matches in the top flight season by over 3 goals for the first time in their history. Obviously, as you mentioned, it's early in the campaign, but let's wrap up with just your thoughts on Tottenham, because last season, Janusz, obviously it was about Postecoglou, his first season, the first season without Harry Kane, of course. There was a lot of changes, but just because of the overall mentality, it's also about making sure that there's a reminder for Tottenham that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And obviously, because of the way they play, it can be tricky. I guess my question is, what does Postecoglou have to do to make sure that Tottenham now elevate themselves to that top 4 spot?
Well, it's consistency, right? Last season, they had a sensational start up until that, if I remember correctly, that Chelsea game, right? Couple of sending offs and 4-0. I think they've lost at home. That high line, if I remember. So look, you've mentioned they've lost a legend in Harry Kane, but I still think the biggest legend of them all is Heung-min Son. That's the biggest positive I got out of the game today. Those 2 goals. Sensational because, even the Pickford mistake, that was a throw-in, wasn't it? You see how he covered that space and picked the pocket. it seems easy and it's a big mistake, but somebody still has to make the run. I think Heung-min Son is the true Spurs legend. It makes no difference if they're winning or losing. His work ethic, his ability to score. If the game is lost already, he's still after it. I think for as long as he stays healthy, for as long as he's having a good season and scoring a couple goals already in the second game doesn't hurt. If he stays healthy, I think they have a chance. This is a talented team. Let's not forget that Dominic Solanke, who just came in and seems always to be healthy. When he was in Bournemouth, he was out. Bentancur, who in the first game I thought it was very, very good. For long periods of time, he was maybe their best player. I think there was a concussion for him in that one, so he should be back probably after the international break. I think it's a good enough team defensively. Remember last season how good they were with Vicario in behind. Van de Ven, superb run for that second goal. Where did he pick that ball up? 20 yards away from his own goal, that pace, how powerful he is as well. So I think if defensively they sort things out, if James Maddison is having a better season than last year, it's still early. Today was better than in the first match against Leicester City. So look, there's enough talent there, but Ange Postecoglou says he usually does well in his second season. Now it's time to prove it, because there are so many teams that are asking to be a part of that that top four, that it's not going to be easy. So he's going to have to make a stand early in the season once again.